Wow, you'll be seeing a lot of me today, but I'm so grateful for the subscriptions. Also, thank you so much for the questions. Some of you are coming to the DMs, some of you are going onto the Facebook page to answer some of these questions, but all the same, we will primarily use the YouTube channel because we want to grow it. So subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Tell those who want to be on radio, tell those who are on radio to come to Izwa, the YouTube channel, where we'll answer questions, we'll interact, and we'll discuss radio. So another question that came through is, Like, do you think that radio presenters right now are doing justice to the drug issue and the depression issue? Let me respond to this one by saying I think a lot has been done in terms of covering the issues to do with drugs. It's a serious problem in Zimbabwe, and we are kind of new to it, so we haven't really figured out how to do it. The issue of depression as well has been handled on radio, but I'll also want to say I think we can do much more as radio people. Some of the programs that we have heard on radio to do with drugs and depression are programs that are sponsored by organizations that are working on these issues, drugs and depression, and sometimes suicide. But I would really love to see a day where radio stations deliberately and intentionally come up with programs that dwell on these issues. Now, this response does not mean that there are no radio stations that are doing this, but I would like it to be more elaborate, louder, if I can say that, because the issue of depression remains a very serious issue, and some of the statements, some of the careless statements, some of them are done in humor, some of them are done in jest, can actually push someone to depression. So I feel that those organizations that are going on radio also need to do what was done during the era of HIV and AIDS, to do workshops for radio presenters, radio practitioners, radio managers as well, need to be equipped on the right language to use, the correct terminology, the correct approach, because sometimes I hear radio presenters trying to counsel people who are probably going through stress or depression, but they are experts who know how to do this. So I would really urge organizations that are working to with depression, with drugs issues, to also invest in capacitating media practitioners on radio and even media to equip them to know what to say, what not to say, how to say it, and address these issues. I I would also like to see the radio managers, radio practitioners also being very creative in the packaging of these programs. Some of them become too heavy, some of them become too technical, and people turn off. But I would love to see attractive, interesting packaging around issues to do with depression, issues to do with drugs. When I talk about attractive packaging, I'm not saying then take away the seriousness of the issue, but sometimes you need to be creative on how to package such issues so that people can sit down and listen. I would also love to see more indigenous languages being used in speaking about drugs and depression. We have to really come up with programs that are in Isindebele, in Shona, in Nyanja, in Ndau, in the 16 official languages that Zimbabwe has. We need to come up with languages or language based programs that touch on the issues of drugs and depression, because this is serious. So thank you very much for that question. That is my comment so far on the issue of drugs, but I would also love to leave a message to radio presenters, radio practitioners. You hold a lot of power when you are sitting behind the microphone, and the world, Zimbabwe, some child, some parent there needs you to articulate these issues of depression, sometimes unfortunately that leads into suicide. Also social media pressure. I'm calling upon radio presenters, radio stations to deliberately come up with their own programs that maybe organizations can then fall and support. But you need to come up with attractive packaging, interesting packaging, and much more programming to do with depression, drugs, suicide, social media pressures. So that would be my comment, and thank you very much for that question.